Well, what's going on, internet? So I'm back again today to do a video that I'm really enjoying doing, which is interacting with you, the viewers. I've been having a lot of fun putting together these videos and creating content that kind of is reaching out to you guys, getting your opinions on film and putting them back into videos. And it's so much fun for me and I really enjoy it. And today I went on the internet, on Instagram and on Reddit, and I asked you guys who your favorite director is and who your least favorite director is. And I thought I'd go into it, talk about some of those, give my personal opinions on what I think, and get those out there for you guys. As always, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment down below and let me know who your favorite and least favorite directors are. I would love to hear that from you. So without further ado, here we go. The first one is fantastic. David Lynch and David Lynch. I love this. This is hilarious. I just did my David Lynch rank list where I ranked all of his films. David is my favorite filmmaker, but I think this is really funny. I understand there's elements of his films that can be incredibly frustrating, especially when you look at works like Inland Empire. But I really love David. I think that he's an incredible filmmaker who makes really unique and interesting content. I really appreciate his overall style and tone of his movies. I think that he's a unique individual who genuinely cares about telling stories of the human experience. And I talk about that really in depth in that video. I really appreciate David's style, and I think that he is one of the best filmmakers working. And as far as that conflict for you as a person watching his material, I can understand that he can be frustrating at times, and I get where you're coming from. You're very conflicted on the inside, and I understand. Favorite director is Wes Anderson. He is so good at making humane and emotionally involving movies. I adore his sensibility. Yeah, I love Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson is a filmmaker who really impacted me as far as my love of filmmaking early on. I think it's really impressive that over the years, Wes continues to have his own very unique visual style. And what I really like about his movies is that there's this real, almost like fantasy-like element where it feels like a created world, but his characters don't feel so like overwritten or hokey that they don't feel realistic, and I always connect to his characters emotionally. My favorite Wes Anderson film is The Life Aquatic, and I think that it's beautifully done. I think it's a wonderfully made film. And what I like about that movie so much is the human connection between Owen Wilson's character and Bill Murray's character, and seeing these people go on this journey together in this father and son relationship. And that exists in all of Wes's work, and I do think that his films have an incredible emotional core. I really appreciate him over all these years for sticking to that visual style, for caring so much about these characters, and really putting a lot of effort into the visual presentation. And I do think he's a really fantastic filmmaker. Least favorite director is Mark Webb. I just find his movies to be very irritating, although they have their merits. Yeah, I mean, Mark Webb doesn't have a very dense filmography by any means. I mean, I like 500 Days of Summer. I think it's an enjoyable film. I like the visual presentation. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel give great performances. It's not like a masterwork of American cinema by any means. I wouldn't say that it's terrible. I mean, that's a pretty good movie. I mean, he made both of the Amazing Spider-Man films, which aren't great. I think Andrew Garfield's the worst of the three Spider-Mans. Not in his performance necessarily. I think that his performance is fine. I just don't think that his demeanor really fits Spider-Man as a character. I really like the nerdy, kind of quirky Spider-Man that's always existed in the comic books. He feels a little too cool for school, if you know what I mean. I think Tobey Maguire was very nerdy, and I think Tom Holland gives a really good Spider-Man performance. I think he's one of the better Spider-Mans. I like him and Tobey Maguire quite a bit. Favorite is either Hitchcock or Villeneuve. Love all their work. Yeah, you know, Hitchcock is obviously an incredible filmmaker. He was an incredible filmmaker while he was alive. I have not seen all of Hitchcock's work, but what I can say is that I've really enjoyed all of Hitchcock's works that I've seen. And I can see why this would be someone's favorite filmmaker. He is clearly a pioneer in the industry and has created a lot of things that directors now still utilize. And I mean, you look at films like Psycho, which was like that act of violence in the shower scene was never seen in film before. People ran out of the theater screaming because they weren't ready for it. I mean, Hitchcock didn't even want people coming into showings after it started because he wanted to keep people in that atmosphere. And I mean, you look at movies like Rear Window that are such a unique way to tell a story through the eyes of a character, and utilizing that set design and really exploring wide open space and character interactions through the eyes of two characters and having the dialogue be between those people. And then you look at a movie like Vertigo, which is just so visually beautiful with incredible performances, and that his catalog has so many fantastic films, and I can see the merit for calling Hitchcock your favorite filmmaker. As far as Villeneuve, I have not seen as much of Villeneuve's work as I wanted to. I still haven't seen Dune. I still haven't seen Blade Runner 2049. But the films that I have seen of Villeneuve's, he's really talented. I loved Prisoners. I thought that it was a really great movie. And I love Enemy. I know that's one of his most kind of polarizing films because of the surrealist elements in the third act. But I think that he gets a great performance out of his characters. And I think his cinematography is gorgeous. And I really love the atmosphere of his films. And I can understand why people would put Villeneuve on such a high level. I think he's going to continue to make great content. I'm excited for Dune. I'm bummed that I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure that it's going to be a great movie. But yeah, both of those are merited to be favorite filmmakers. Least favorite is probably Mcgee. Watched 3 of his films, and the highest one I've rated is 1 out of 5. Would not recommend. So for fun, internet, here's Mcgee's directorial credits: The Babysitter, Charlie's Angels, The Babysitter, Killer Queen, This Means War starring Reese Witherspoon, Terminator Salvation, 3 Days to Kill, and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. There's more on this list I won't get into, but I responded to this. This is a guy who is just in the film industry to appease the studio. He is going to say, studio, hand me a script. I will make this movie, and we'll make the movie. I have seen a few of those films on the list, and I will agree with you. I don't think Mcgee is a great filmmaker. I think that his movies are pretty bad. I did watch The Babysitter, and I found it pretty entertaining. It's not like a great movie. It's fine. It was enjoyable. But some of those movies on that list, they're bad. And I could see why you would say that he's your least favorite if you've seen a multitude of his films and they continue to be that low on your list. I agree with you. He's not very good, and that's a good pick. Favorite is a close tie between David Fincher and Denis Villeneuve, purely just from a consistency standpoint and how many of their films I consider to be 5 out of 5 or close to it. Yeah, so I just talked about Villeneuve. I know he's made some great movies. I love David Fincher. I think Fincher is a master of his craft. Between cinematography, sound design, performances, he just gets great stuff out of his actors. I love Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, obviously Fight Club, Seven, his Social Network. His entire filmography is filled with incredible movies that are all unique and interesting and engaging. You look at a television show like Mindhunter, just everything the guy touches is gold, and I would agree with you. I think that he is an incredible filmmaker. I always look forward to whatever he's going to make. I still haven't seen Mank yet, which I know a lot of people said is really good. I love Citizen Kane. I really would enjoy to see kind of his perspective on the way that film was made. Yeah, I like David Fincher a lot. I can agree with you on this one. While there are far worse directors out there, least favorite recognizable director is Christopher Nolan. His films are impressive the same way NASA building rockets is impressive. However, his writing and overall approach to his films is missing all of the magic that makes films so impactful for me. They're great to look at, but focus on all the wrong things. You know, I talked about this in my Hot Takes video. I'm not a Christopher Nolan fan. I think Christopher Nolan is super overrated. I think his movies are all visually gorgeous. He really does take a lot of time to present his movies in the most incredible way possible so that when you're watching it, you get that visual assault. Obviously, his sound design is really important, but he's not very good at writing a story. And I will say, over the past couple of years, I haven't really watched any new Nolan because I just am so disinterested in his work. Inception really killed it for me. I thought Inception was a really cool idea, that was written really sloppily, and I thought that it was poorly put together. I thought it was very pretty to look at, but aside from that, I didn't really get anything from it. I mean, movies like Dunkirk, sure, they're a visual spectacle, but they're pretty empty otherwise. I don't get it. I don't understand the Christopher Nolan obsession. I know there's people that really like appreciate his work, and maybe it's solely for the visual style, which is cool. If you like his visual style, sure. I 100% understand why you would get into watching his movies, but they're not for me. I just think they're poorly written. I do like stuff early on in his catalog that he did not write all of, like movies like Memento. I think Memento is a really great film. I really like it. I enjoy revisiting it. I like his earliest works, like Insomnia. I think that's a really great movie, but I don't know. He's not really my kind of guy as far as a filmmaker. I think that he's overrated, and people that are like, his movies are the best things in the world, or have like the Dark Knight trilogy in their top 4 on Letterboxd, like, nah, those movies are all right. I mean, they get great performances from the villains, but Christian Bale's a horrible Batman, and you could fight me on it, but he's bland. I hate the voice that he uses. Movies look beautiful, but aside from that, yeah, I'm not the biggest Chris Nolan guy. Favorite is Miyazaki or the Coen brothers. Least favorite is probably Tim Burton. I just have never been into his stuff. I'm sure there are worse directors, but he comes to mind immediately since I've seen plenty of his movies. You know, Miyazaki, I'm kind of upset because I haven't seen a lot of Miyazaki movies, and the ones that I have seen, I've really enjoyed. I recently saw Spirited Away for the first time, and that movie is fucking beautiful. I love the animation style, I love the soundtrack, I love the story. And I've seen Ponyo, and I really enjoyed Ponyo when I saw it in the theater, and I'm kind of bummed out with myself that I haven't seen more of his work, because I'm sure that I would really get into a lot of it. As far as the Coen brothers comment, yes, I love the Coen brothers. They have one of the most unique filmographies of any director I've talked about on the channel. Their movies are kind of all over the place, and it says a lot about their work that they're just kind of willing to do whatever the fuck they want. They don't really care about what people think about their work. Clearly, they just make things that are important to them. I mean, look at movies like Burn After Reading or A Serious Man. Super wild, surreal movies that have really strange concepts that are just executed so flawlessly. And then you have classics like Fargo and Raising Arizona, and then you look at a movie like No Country for Old Men that is just absolutely phenomenal. I loved one of their newer projects, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I thought it was amazing. I loved the music in it. I thought it was fantastic. They're guys that I always look for their work. I always enjoy whatever they release. And yeah, Coen Brothers is a good pick. As far as the Tim Burton comment, you know, I have a soft spot for some of Tim Burton's work. I really loved Beetlejuice. I liked Frankenweenie quite a bit, actually, which is one of the newer Tim Burton movies that I enjoy. Ed Wood is a classic. But yeah, I can see, you know, especially if you were an early Tim Burton fan, you watched like Edward Scissorhands and you liked it a lot, and now you're watching some of his newer work and you're just like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? And I think the problem with Tim Burton is this. Early in his career, Tim Burton focused very heavily on scripts, and he worked really hard on getting good scripts with great content so that when you're watching it, you're invested in the characters, you care for what's going on. And now it seems like later on in his career, he's much more invested with just that Tim Burton aesthetic, which is cool to look at. I mean, I really like the way it looks. But his characters feel a lot emptier now. They don't feel like they're written very well. They don't feel incredibly well directed either. And that's disappointing because I think Tim Burton seems like a really cool dude and I would probably enjoy talking to him. But yeah, his movies aren't nearly as good, and I can understand why you would put him lower on the list, especially with those newer films. But I do think he has some films that merit him to be a solid filmmaker, that I think he's pretty decent. But yeah, he's not on the bottom of my list or anything. I just don't look forward to any of his new content. Favorite director, I go between Paul Thomas Anderson and the Coen brothers. So I just talked about the Coen brothers, but Paul Thomas Anderson is fantastic. I sadly have not seen all of Paul Thomas Anderson's work. Can't wait to see Licorice Pizza. I talked about it in previous videos, but Phantom Thread is one of my favorites of his. I loved The Master. I thought it was beautiful. There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis gives one of the best performances I've ever seen in a movie. He's just a masterful director that understands cinematography, sound design, performance. Yeah, I can see PTA being on the top of a lot of people's lists, and he has a very dense catalog of incredible movies. And he's just going to keep churning out great movies. And I've heard nothing but good things about Licorice Pizza. And I'm looking forward to when it comes near me, because right now it's like in New York and California. And I live in the Midwest, and it's really hard for me to find a theater to see it. So hopefully it comes around soon, because I am looking forward to it. Least favorite? I don't know. I've never been impressed with a J.J. Abrams movie yet. Ron Howard and George Clooney have both been given a lot of chances for great movies with very few successes. Yeah, you know, J.J. Abrams, I'm not like the hugest J.J. Abrams fan. I liked Super 8 quite a bit. I thought that it was a fun movie. Kind of gave me like older Spielberg vibes. I liked that. But like what he did with the Star Wars movies, nah. And there's really not been a lot in his catalog I've been really impressed with. The Star Trek movies were meh. He's got his own visual style. He's got a way to approach lens flares. He approaches his movies the way that he wants to, I guess. And if you're into his stuff, sure. But yeah, I don't love Abrams by any means. Also, Ron Howard, same thing. He feels like over the years he's just kind of said yes to whatever project's thrown his way. And, you know, more power to the guy that early in his career he made some really good movies. But yeah, now he just seems to make, you know, things that appeal to audiences 70 and above. And I'm just not into his work either. It's Solo, a Star Wars story, whatever. I don't really care. So as far as George Clooney's directorial film, the only movie of his that I've seen that he directed was The Ides of March, and it was fine. I like Ryan Gosling, but yeah, looking at his catalog, I know most of those movies have not been very well received. It doesn't seem like he's cut out for the directing world as much as he is an actor. I do think he's a good actor. I think that he's charismatic and entertaining, and I enjoy seeing him in films. But yeah, I'm not sold on any of his directorial stuff. So this is going to be my last one for the video. Favorite, Tarantino or Villeneuve? Yeah, we talked about Villeneuve. Tarantino, you know, I like Tarantino. I think he's made some good movies. I don't think I would ever put him in my favorite. I think his movies have a very specific style. I know how much he's contributed over the years to the filmmaking culture as a whole. But it's not like his movies aren't ones that I would go, oh my God, you have to see this. I mean, I really like Django Unchained. I thought Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was really good. But yeah, like, I'm not a Pulp Fiction fan. I don't think it's that great. I think it's convoluted and it's messy and it's not really that well put together. The performances are meh. I've seen it like 3 times, and every time I just kind of dislike it more. And I'm not sure why it's like in people's favorite movies. I'm sure it had some edgy moments, I guess. But yeah, it's not... Pulp Fiction really isn't my cup of tea. I think his movies are all right, but yeah, he's not in my favorite by any means. Least favorite, definitely not the worst, but I've never seen a director screw up so many great concepts than Zack Snyder. Yeah, Zack Snyder seems like a really nice guy, and I felt really horrible for what happened to his daughter. I think that, you know, anyone that goes through that type of tragedy, it's terrible. And he seems like someone who likes to make movies, but I just hate everything that he makes. I thought Sucker Punch was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I honestly wanted to walk out about midway through. I had never seen such a convoluted and awful script written in my life that clearly even the director didn't understand. And then all this shit he's made with DC has been terrible, and I have not enjoyed any of it. I think he completely misunderstands comic book movies. You can do a really great job like Marvel does of mixing comedy, drama, you know, all that together, but they're comic books. They're supposed to be fun. And Zack Snyder makes these movies really like gritty and dark and disgusting, and they're just awful. And then like Man of Steel having a complete disregard for how many people probably died and the collateral damage of the fight at the end of that movie. But yeah, I just find his movies not great, and I think he probably sees himself as this like masterful filmmaker, and yeah, I don't care about that zombie movie just put on Netflix. I'm never gonna watch it. It just looks terrible. I'm sorry, Zach. I think you're a really nice guy. Your movies aren't for me. I'm sorry. So what did you think of my opinions on these favorite and least favorite directors? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know your favorite and least favorite directors. As always, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that really helps me out a lot. When you like that video, smash that subscribe button. Do all that stuff people do on the internet. I do appreciate you guys for watching all my videos. I recently hit my 100 subscriber milestone, and it's really awesome that so many of you are out there watching my content and enjoy what I have to say. As always, thanks so much for watching, Internet, and have a great rest of your day.